Today is, yes, the 21st.
Okay, so it's the 21st of May,
Yes.
2024. It's currently, what time is it?
It's 6:46 p.m.
6:46 p.m. and we are at PJ's Coffee Shop in Caroline, Texas, and this is our third podcast.
Yes.
So, how are you doing, Kumiko?
Doing well.
You look
A
good.
little stressed, but I'm doing well.
Are you a little stressed? Oh no, why are you stressed?
I
Tell
fought
me.
traffic again.
You fought traffic? It took you a little bit of time to get here, almost
Yeah.
like 40 minutes, huh?
Tuesdays are rough.
Tuesdays are rough. I think Wednesdays are rough, Thursdays are rough, Fridays are rough, Saturdays are
For
rough,
flying.
Sundays are rough.
For flying?
For you.
me.
For traffic.
Yes, it is.
Well, I broke my record yesterday for
Oh.
consecutive hours up.
How many hours?
26 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was
What's
up for
the
26
limit?
hours. Huh?
What was the limit?
Well, our limit was 16, but I waived it to go home. So I had a full 16-hour day,
Mhm.
and then I had another 8 hours, I guess. Would that be 26? Yeah, I had that many more hours afterwards to actually get home. So I got the full gauntlet.
Oh, wait. So what time did you fly out of Denver?
I flew out of Denver ultimately I flew out of Denver at midnight, like 12:30 midnight.
And you actually flew? Or-
I did not fly. No, I wasn't legal to fly. So I had to waive my rights, my legal rights, to be able to get home.
You deadheaded?
I deadheaded, yeah. But we boarded the first plane, and we actually had to deboard and get onto another plane.
Mechanical issues?
Mechanical issues. There was mechanical issues, yeah, with the toilets.
Oh, no.
No toilets.
That's important.
No toilets.
That's
So
important.
yeah, you have to have them, and we didn't have them, so I don't know. So now I know how my passengers felt when we have to deboard and reboard the aircraft. So.
Did you say this place sucks? This place sucks?
No, actually, I kept it together pretty well. There was just one thing where I kind of lost my cool. It was in the morning. So, what happened was we stayed at a hotel, which I'm not going to name the name of it, but
We'll
we got to
put
get.
it in subtitles.
It's like, yeah, and we catch the shuttle in the morning. It happens every day. Now I stay at a million hotels every night. I don't know which ones. It's pretty granted. They know we're there. We know we need to go to the airport in the morning. It's not higher level science.
Yeah.
In the morning, the shuttle shows up. The guy says, "Well, you weren't on the schedule." I said, "Well, nobody told us we had to be on the schedule." But yes, you actually did have to be on the schedule. So he says, "I only have 2 seats and there's 3 of y'all. Figure it out."
Oh, no.
It was really disrespectful. So anyway, needless to say, the word quickly got around of the events that followed after that. Everybody knew. I had a feeling I got a little popular after that. So, I had to channel the
Channel
inner
Kumiko.
channel.
Channel
Channel,
Kumiko.
Oh my god, wow. I put the straw in it and I got like that with that sugar. Colorado people are different. They're built different.
No, my brother lives in Colorado. Not a true resident or from there, but they live there now.
Yeah. Okay. You might have to speak louder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and capture the. I don't know if the microphone's going to capture us or not.
No. Well, that sucks.
Does it suck?
You just have to do a voiceover.
I think what I can do is I can improve the audio, and I can make the audio.
You'll put a squeaky voice on me. What did she say? I don't know.
It's so racist.
So racist. Is the power almost out?
We're just. No, the power's not out. It's just I think it dim screen. No, it's still recording.
Okay.
I think it just dims the screen to save power.
Oh,
Maybe.
okay.
But it's good to check on it every once in a while.
Okay, look what we got here today.
Oh yes, Karlov Manor, the infamous bundle. How much did it? How many and how much did it cost?
I don't know because
You just ran it on your credit
I
card.
buy so many.
Why are you buying so many? Are you addicted?
I have the fever.
Now you should really hold off on your money because Modern Horizons 3 is right around the corner.
And those are expensive.
Those are very expensive.
That is up to you to get.
Well, I'm going to get it. I mean, and we're probably going to book the big place again. But Modern Horizons 3, I did put the pre-order in for it. So they're coming out with the collector box, they're coming out with the play booster box, and they're coming out with one commander deck.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
just one. Guess how much the commander deck is?
Just one?
Just one commander deck.
Let me see. I paid $26 for one. I'm assuming it's $50.
Okay, that would be a good guess. $50.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard a rumor the pre-con is going to be $200.
What?
Yeah, one commander pre-con is going to be $200.
Oh,
So I think the play boosters are going to be like the play booster box is going to be about $400, and I think the collector box is going to be about $400.
yikes.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't think it's going to be that expensive, but we'll see. Okay.
Do you think they're not going to make enough of the quantities that there's going to be a demand for it?
I think it's going to be a Commander Masters debacle all over again. Because with Commander Masters, everybody got sticker shock. Everybody freaked out about the price because a lot of people, when a lot of the COVID economy started pouring into Magic the Gathering, a lot of people started opening up card shops. What ended up happening is that, as I explained, they opened their shops using lines of credit. They purchase product. They have to sell that product from the distributor. Buy the product from the distributor. So you get a box, right?
Mhm.
Let's say you get Murders of Karlov Manor, okay? But I want to sell it. So I buy 20 of these boxes
Yes.
from the distributor. I get distributor pricing. Then I sell it to my loyal fans and my customers at distributor plus 15%.
Mm.
So then I take the money that I got from this and I keep rolling it over to new product, okay? Now, what happens is that the price increase for the product that the stores have to buy can only increase by MSRP plus 15% to account for the MSRP plus 15% that that the stores are selling it for.
So they're only marking it up to 15%?
Well, they can mark it up as much as they want, but yes. But generally, I use 15% because that's basically like your profit margin. That's generally like your business school. Like you have to clear at least 15% to be considered viable. Now, those were old numbers. Those were like 2010 era numbers. Now it's a decade later, so who knows? But what I'm trying to say is that, okay, so distributor boxes, we'll use round numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say I buy X amount of these for $100, and then I sell them for $100 plus 15%. How much money do I make?
Is it 150?
115. Yes, exactly. So then I turn around and I take that 115, and then, or actually I take that next 100 and I buy the next product for 100, and then I sell it for 100 plus 15%. How much money did I make?
$15.
Okay. Now, if you take the 15 from the previous and the 15 from what I just sold, how much profit did I make?
30.
30. Exactly. Okay. So, all right. So you see, so you just keep repeating the cycle. So as long as the pricing from the distributor remains stationary,
Yeah.
remains, predictable, you can keep milking that at 15%. Now, in the real world, though, it doesn't work like that. We have a 2% inflation, right? So what's going to happen is that you're going to get so the first batch is going to be $100. Then the second batch is going to be $102.
Yeah.
The third batch is going to be $104. So then how do you respond to that? Well, you sell it at X plus 15%. Then you sell the next batch at X plus 20%.
Yeah, so that's why these prices are not set.
Exactly.
Every time I go to a retailer, it's a different price for bundles.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that means they pay a lot more at the cost.
Say that again. They pay a lot more at the cost.
If this ended up being, let's say, $65. Let's say it's not. But
Okay.
Let's say it's $65.
Mm-hmm.
But the previous one was $47.
Right.
That tells me that they bought this product at cost a little bit higher than the $47.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's always a set percentage then.
They try to keep it a set percentage.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So as long as the percentage rise stays predictable, stores can keep up. Now, what the Modern Horizons debacle or not the Modern Horizons, but Commander Masters debacle. So what happened was stores in the customer base were used to, the set price. They were used to Commander decks being $40. They were used to the boxes being $125. That's what the customers were used to. That's what the stores could anticipate buying. Now, what happens is when Commander Masters came out, it went from $125 to $400 a box. Okay, so two things happened. One, the stores that were still were able to recover from the price shock that actually bought into the product on credit, because you can't use, because if something goes to $400 a box from $125, you can't buy into it using the money you made from selling the previous product. So you got to utilize your credit line. So they bought the credit line, bought the product. They only got one box, one unit for every 4 units that they generally got. So if you had 24 units, you could only get, like, what was that, 6 and 6, 12, 24? Or is it,
6 plus 6 plus 12?
Yeah, well, the math. Well, if you can only get one where you could generally get 4. Yeah, so, so instead of, you can only get 4 instead of 12 products. So instead of being able to sell 12 boxes, you could only get 4 boxes. Okay, so first of all, people tied up 400% of their credit on 25% of their volume that they could generally get. And then what happened with Commander Masters? It didn't sell. They did not move it. Nobody bought it.
You didn't buy it?
No, nobody bought into Commander Masters. It was, nobody bought into Commander Masters for a lot of reasons. One was that the Lord of the Rings set had just come out, the Universe Beyond, and everybody bought into that. And when I say everybody bought into Lord of the Rings, I mean, man, like, people moved money that they didn't even know they had. I mean, let me tell you, like, for us being in the Biden economy and everybody broke, I mean, I have never seen so much loose change come out of couch cushions for the Lord of the Rings set.
It's like a commemorative issue. Because Lord of the Rings is well known.
I had no idea.
As a game, a board game.
I had no idea, yeah. I think you're right.
So it's more of a commemorative issue.
The money that people were able to conjure up for the Lord of the Rings was just, I mean, guys that, like, couldn't even put gas in their car were buying the $400 boxes. Okay.
So they take their unopened boxes, sell many of these to buy that one Lord of the Rings set.
You mean like the person who had it, or the stores, or the individual buyers?
So if they can't afford it, normally, so they take all their old stuff that maybe they haven't even opened, they sell it.
They liquidate it.
Yes.
Okay.
And then with that money, they buy the Lord of the Rings.
Okay, yeah, and that's what you're talking about. Yeah, so a lot of stores have old inventory, and that's called the heavy bags, right? So if you're, like, let's say you got a bunch of murders at Karlov Manor.
Yes, which they do.
They do. Those are heavy bags. And you're like, oh my God, when's anybody...
This is going to end up in that mystery box. This is
going to end up in the mystery box, for sure.
Yes.
Okay. So, I was about to follow. Okay. So I gave you like a 3-hour answer to a very quick question. But, so Modern Horizons, I think, 3, it's going to go the same route as Commander Masters.
Okay.
So people are initially going to buy into it. Maybe people won't buy into it at all. There's going to be an unnamed amount sitting around. The stores that did buy it that couldn't sell it are going to have to liquidate it at half the price, take a hit on it, because that's eventually what happened to a lot of the stores.
But are they really going to liquidate it? It seems like, I have a feeling that the Wizards of the Coast or whoever it is, they're buying it back. Whatever doesn't sell, they buy it back.
They might be, but that's market. That would be the equivalent of a company buying its own stocks back.
But they're making it up by doing the mystery box.
Perhaps there's a lot of stuff going on here. There's a lot of
By doing
You got another one?
The
Oh my
mystery
God.
box.
So this is eventually, you could just bring the old boxes. You don't actually have to go and buy another one. It is fun though. So you
The
can.
mystery box.
So this is going to go into here,
Yes.
maybe. Okay. Huh. Okay. So just to finish up with the Commander Master. So what happened was stores had Commander Masters. They liquidated the product. They let it go for 80%, like 20%, 30% less, maybe even half. Somebody else bought them. But then guess what happened to Commander Masters now?
They've gone up in price.
It's through the roof now.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's actually going through the roof. Even Baldur's Gate is going through the roof. So,
I think Kamigo is also up in price.
have you been checking it out?
Yeah.
yeah. Once I teach you the ways, right? Yeah. So okay. So we'll see what happens with Modern Horizons 3. So, so where did you want to go on this? So let's talk about Murders in Karlov Manor. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So
I suppose that there's some really good cards in here.
they are. Now the question is that was it worth the whatever you paid for cards versus buying them separately? I don't know. So I think that's more of a rhetorical question.
I need to check to see how much I paid.
Okay. Are you gonna look on TC Target? Okay.
Yes.
Well, actually, so why don't you check on TCG Player? I don't want to lose the momentum here on the podcast, but while you're checking, I'm going to talk about Murders in Karlov Manor. So we talked about this many times. So Murders in Karlov Manor is a product that a lot of people have been calling dead on arrival since Wizard of the Coast came out with it. And essentially, what it is, it's a themed set from the beginning of this year that merged the realms of Ravnica with the game Clue, which is Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast. So again, the theme was that you had a lot of popular Magic the Gathering characters that everybody knows and loves from all the lore, suddenly trying to solve murder mysteries. And then you had some ridiculous concepts of like angels and demons running around in trench coats, wearing fedoras, with magnifying glasses, Pink Panther style. And
Don't you have a trench coat?
I do not have a trench coat. I do have a hat that I bought my dad, and I bought it, but I hardly wear it. No, I don't have a trench coat. But the idea is that you had characters running around with trench coats and fedoras trying to solve a murder mystery, and I don't think anybody went for it. I think it's also Hasbro's attempt to try to make the game like a little bit more user friendly, like a little bit more accessible, less witchcrafty, or less from the lore that people think it is. Get it away from the stereotype. But you're dealing with 3 or 4 decades of product here. So
I paid $52.99.
Okay, so it's $52.99.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
For the bundle.
It actually went down then. Yeah, because I think it was like $59 when it came out.
Okay.
I remember. Yeah, the MSRP for it is $59. So if you paid $52 for it,
it's a win.
it's a win. Yeah. So anyway, so this was it. So this was, and the thing was that people didn't even really know where this tied in to it because it was just a really weird. Because you already had the Murders at Karlov Manor bundle. Okay.
The one.
This is it. Oh my God, I'm so tired. I thought this was the Clue edition.
No, I didn't get the Clue edition.
You didn't get the Clue edition. The whole time I'm talking about Clue.
Was that the better one?
See, this is what happens when you run on 26 hours of sleep. 26 hours of no sleep. Because I got in at 6 a.m. I slept till 11, and then I woke up and I had to take care of stuff. So yeah, run some errands. Okay. Oh my God. So okay. Well, I still think.
Are you disappointed?
Disappointed in what?
That I didn't get the Clue one.
I wasn't disappointed that you got the Clue one. I think this is actually amazing. Huh?
That's the Ravnica?
The Ravnica remastered.
Wait, which one was the Clue? I thought that was the Ravnica.
No, Clue was Murders of Karlov Manor. You see, they came out with 2 products. See, it's so confusing because...
It's the same thing, but it's the Clue version?
Yes! Yes, it's the same thing. It's the Clue edition, though. Yes, because what happens is they tried to take Murders of Karlov Manor and then they tried to make a Clue edition, and they had like its own special cards and stuff like that, and it just didn't work. So,
But I looked this one up, and they had good reviews from the.
so there are actually solid cards in Murders at Karlov Manor. So, like I said, the sets aren't bad. The issue that we run into is that it's just too many sets and too much money competing with itself. Because so this takes place in Ravnica, okay, and just the year before they had Ravnica Remastered. So again, Wizards of the Coast, they have the remastered sets. They have the modern, the mastered. They have the remastered. Then they have the master sets, if that makes any sense. Okay, so remastered, mastered.
Not at all.
Not at all. I might be getting it wrong. They have Universes Beyond, and then they have the regular sets that come out. And the idea is that you have all this product that's tailored for different players of Magic in different areas. So the 4 sets that they come out with is for the draft play. So you get the product, you draft the sets, and then you can then go into standard, and you have the competitions with it using the current sets. But then you have the master sets for players that play modern and they play vintage and they play the other sets. There's like a bunch of different sets, but they use the modern sets for that, which is basically cards that significantly cost more, but they have higher power levels associated with it. And then you can buy those cards, and then you can play in those sets and competitions. But when you're playing at that level, you're just kind of like, you're kind of beyond going with Murders at Karlov Manor, right? So you're kind of like doing a competition. You're traveling. You're like going to Vegas, for example.
Hawaii.
You're going to Hawaii. You're going to the Pro Tours, and it's just an attempt to create some type of market for people to be able to get these cards and make them accessible, and not have to go to like these seedy back alley card shops and try to get old product that may be fake. So.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well.
Okay.
Want to open it?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. We'll go ahead. Open it. So here we go.
Well, you have to open on both sides.
Huh?
Does it have to be open on both sides?
Did you want me to just open it on one side?
I don't know. What was the purpose of having two tabs?
I just like the way it sounds. Did I tell you only got 5 hours of sleep on 26 hours of being up?
Yes, this is fun. I understand.
So, okay. All right. So, here's the Murders at Karlov Manor. So, this right here, that's Tessa Karlov. Apparently, the plot line is she got murdered. And we got to figure out who murdered her. So, which is interesting because when you play the game, it comes out, there's like clues. So, the biggest thing is, okay, so this is actually really cool. So, you get the cipher page, and then I'm showing it also on the main screen here. So, you get the cipher page, and then if you open the box and you use the dice, so you'll notice on the previous podcast, yes.
I know this.
It's like a decoder ring, and then supposedly you can look through it.
We used to have this for like spelling bees, spelling emails.
Exactly. And then if you look through it, I might need some light here. But if you look through if you look through the cube, it's like a decoder ring, and then you can start getting the clues. So it says right here, it says at 2:16, you can see through the diabolical scheme. Reach out to your connections, continue your investigation. RavnicaDetectiveAgency.com. The Ruby House. And then
Wait, so it tells you who killed.
I think you're supposed to look for clues, go to this website, and then keep going with it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's like, all right. Well, good luck. I'm sure somebody's going to go through that. Supposedly, the cards that come out too, you can use this dice on the cards as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like cheating.
Is it like cheating? Yeah, just ask the AI. So here's the bundle, and it's got some really beautiful artwork on it.
That is pretty though. They spent a lot of time and money on just the box.
It's beautiful, and like I said, I always like the bundle because so this is actually Massacre Girl. She's actually one of the biggest playable cards right now, standard right now. I think if we could pull a Massacre Girl, I think right now she's like $30 or $40 per card.
Oh, let's find one.
Let's find one. Okay, so we'll go with it. All right. So here we go, just like last time.
Mm-hmm.
You ready to open?
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. We got the lands.
We only have one.
Yeah, we only have one, huh? How about that? Oh no, there's two.
Oh.
Like I said, I always thought that getting the lands was always like the biggest part of it too, because you can actually build a deck from it. So, okay. There you go. Ready to... Actually, I wanted to show you something real quick.
Okay.
Okay, before we open it.
Okay.
Okay, so there's actually a format. So I told you about deck building and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't know there's actually an unofficial format you could play with. It's called Mini Masters.
Uh-huh.
So the way Mini Masters works is that you'll take your lands. In this case.
Oh, you got the foil.
Oh yeah, there's a foil. You always get the one foil card here. So it's the Axebane Ferrex. 2 generic, 2 green. It's a creature beast. Death Touch, Haste, Ward, collect 4 evidence. So what Ward means, or what collect evidence 4 means, is whenever this creature becomes a target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, counter it unless that player exiles cards with a total mana value 4 or greater from their graveyard. So this set came out with a new mechanic called Collect Evidence. And basically what Collect Evidence is that you can exile cards from your graveyard up to the mana value. So in this case, Collect Evidence 4 means that whatever this mana value will add up to, you exile that from your graveyard. Okay. So Collect Evidence 4 means that you exile that. And if you can do that, then it gives you some type of special ability. So it's kind of like a graveyard recursion mechanic. It's some way to give you utility into your graveyard. It's actually a really good card. We got some very beautiful full art planes. So I think that right there is supposed to be a scene from Ravnica. So we'll show the camera right there. And then there's an island.
Aren't these the ones that
the swamp.
You can see the actual... Like,
that's actually really beautiful. Look at that. What did you ask?
The last time we opened one, and I think it was one of these cards, the land cards, it showed hidden the MTG logos.
You're right. You're right. That was in the Thunder Junction.
Yeah.
It showed the hidden MTG logos. But here...
You don't see it?
I don't see it. I don't think I see it. No, it looks like it's a cityscape, actually. It's kind of dark. Let me see if I can actually turn on the flashlight real quick here. Yeah, I think there's a way to... I don't want to mess with the camera too much here because... Okay, there you go. And then there's a forest and there's another guild gate. So the thing about Ravnica is Ravnica was the introduction of the guilds, which was the 2 colors. So a lot of the 2 colors that people associate, like Dimir, Golgori, Silencia, that was originally from Ravnica. So in the Ravnica Remastered set, it went and revisited a lot of the it revisited that. That was one of the original ones.
Okay.
So anyway, so what I was going to tell you is that, let's look at the other lands.
The non-foil.
Yeah, and then you get the same thing as the non-foil. And the lands can actually have some value too, as
it's
well.
A full art.
The full arts, yeah. And then you have the non-full arts, which are still very beautiful. See, it's like very beautiful. It looks like a college campus. You can tell that there's like kind of like reminds me of new, huh?
What kind of college did you go to?
What are you talking about? Well, like that looks like something you would see up in like, you know, New England or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like very hoity-toity.
I
like,
don't know.
You know. Look, it's Bohemian Grove. There's Alex Jones. Ah, they're doing it in there. Ah, say ow. Anyway. Okay, I totally forgot what I was going to want to show you. But
The mini.
The Mini Masters, right. So the way the Mini Masters works is you take, I don't think we're going to have enough lands to do it, but essentially you would take 3 lands of every color.
3 lands of every color. Okay.
Right. So in this case, you got 3 islands. You'll have 3 swamps, 3 plains.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have 3 forests. So here we go.
Okay.
And then what's the last color? Red.
Red.
3 mountains. By the way, these cards are no longer mint. They're lightly played. So
We'll cut that out.
yeah, exactly. So what you'll do is you'll take the cards, and then so you got your lands in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll take a pack. You'll open it. You'll take out the token, or you'll take out the land in the token,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll take your lands. You'll shuffle them in.
You didn't even check the cards.
No. You shuffle them in. You don't check the cards. That's the whole point of Mini Masters. And then what you do is your opponent will do the same thing, and then you'll play with each other, just using
The one play booster.
Because you have no idea what's in here. You don't know what the power levels are. You don't know what color. So that's why you have to play 3 of each
What
different
if
land.
there's a $30 card right there?
Why do we play? You sound stressed. That sounds like a stress laugh.
There might be a $30 card in there.
You have to think of it not as cards. So then what you do is once you shuffle them, right, you draw 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Mm-hmm.
There's your library.
Okay.
And then boom. And then that's how you start playing. See? So in this case, in this opening hand, you can see I drew a mountain, I drew a forest, and then I have a red and a white card, or I have one card that's red and a mountain and a plains. I have this one, which is
Mountain.
4 and 2 forest, and I have this as just 3 and 2 mountain, and then chases on is 2 and 1 mountain. So then you can start playing. So a typical first play would be like, if I go first, I don't draw a card, so play a mountain, draw a card, and then turn 2, I could play another mountain, draw a card. Technically, I would draw a card and play.
Okay.
And then third turn, I would play a swamp, and then I can see that I can play the chases on. Well, I can't. It's an instant. There's nothing to play it on. But that's why they call it Mini Masters, because you got to figure out how you're going to make those lands work with the cards that you have. You know, beat the other person that has 20 life. So it could play a little bit longer. So here I have another swamp, but I don't really have a card. I have this card, which is 3 and 2 red. So eventually I'm going to get another land which is right here. I'll play the forest. I'll tap 5. Well, that's a sorcery. I can play this creature right here for 3 in a swamp. So here we go. So here's swamp, 1, 2, 3. 1 left over. And then we can play the Night Drinker Morori. He's a creature vampire with flying, and when Night Drinker Morori enters the battlefield, you lose 3 life. Now there's this other mechanic called Disguise, which says you may cast this card face down for 3 as a 2/2 creature with Ward 2. Turn it face up anytime for its Disguise cost. So
is this when this comes into play?
No. This is just a spin down, like a life counter,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So, oh, you hit me 19, 18. How it would work is your life would be at 20. So if this creature, for example, were to attack you, or attack the player, it would swing for 4 damage because its power is 4. Well, the opponent would lose 4 if they don't have any blockers. So then your life total would go from 20 down to 16 right there. And then you would tap the creature to indicate that it's attacking. Well, yes. Well, there's nothing there because you're supposed to look for clues, figure out what's going on.
How do you know that's 16?
How can it be so confusing, Kumiko? I've explained it over and over
I
and
just
over
look at the pretty
and over.
cards.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, let's look at the pretty cards. Sorry if I'm drawing it on. Did I tell you I only got
5 hours of sleep.
5 hours of sleep. Every time I say it, it's every time I tell
it becomes 4 hours,
every-
and then it becomes 3 hours
yeah,
of sleep,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
it becomes 1 hour of sleep.
The time I stayed up goes 1 hour longer. The fish I caught was this big. I really do think these lands are really nice. I seriously thought when you saw it, I really thought it was a Clue edition at first. It would have been interesting if you got the Clue edition because...
Is that a hit?
No, it's not a hint at all. No. I don't think you should get it. I just thought it would have been interesting to see hey, what's actually going on in here. But,
So if it's so similar, are the graphics similar too?
yeah, the cards are kind of more of an evolutionary. The artwork, as more money gets dumped into this game, the cards and the quality of the cards definitely become a bigger thing. So this is a pretty good. Let me bring the camera a little bit closer so we can get a really good idea of what's going on here. So we have some instants and sorceries here. So this one's Eliminate the Impossible. Offender at Large. So it's a guy in a trench coat running, a giant rogue. Again, this is some of the things that people were really trench coats? So here's another one. Undercover Crocodile. You got a detective crocodile here, wearing his trench coat, and it's just as I call it, trench coat fedora. And just, I mean, people they're not buying it.
I should have worn my trench coat and a fedora.
Steam Core Scholar.
Do you see any value?
Hmm?
Do you see any value in the card?
So, this is what I look at with the cards. So, determine value. Okay, like I said, some things just pop out. You got something really nice, but like I said, when you got a million cards to go through and you only got 2 seconds, it's kind of looking through these cards and trying to determine value. It's like speed dating. You got 30 seconds.
I don't know. I win.
You never speed dated?
Nope.
You never did that thing with the first 15 seconds I saw them, I knew?
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Oh. Is that a sad thing?
So I look at the symbol here, and I try to see what color this little symbol is, and I try to figure out. First, I look at the rarity. Then I look at the casting cost. Right? Anything 3 or less that has the rare or the mythic, that immediately gets my attention.
What is a rare or mythic?
So a rare or mythic is going to be determined by the color of the symbol here. So, for example, this symbol, the sword, indicates that it came from the murder of Karlov Manor. This is actually a dagger, right? The murder weapon.
Yeah.
So if you see this 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, when you're looking at this card and you're wondering what set it came from, you'll see that this came from Murders of Karlov Manor. The color of it is going to indicate the rarity. So for example, you're going to see that this is a black one. So this is going to be a common. Silver is going to be uncommon. And then gold and bronze is going to be rare and mythic rare.
Okay.
So then, with that being said, I start looking for I started looking for playability. I look for artwork. I look for anything that just looks like it's unique, as in what it can do. So, for example, this one is Red Artifact Destruction.
This looks like it's something valuable. Maybe not. Because
It could be. It shimmers, and shimmery is good. Sometimes people like shimmery. So this is a Museum Night Watch. It's 3 in a plains. It's a creature centaur soldier. When Museum Night Watch dies, create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token. So this is a good card. It's generally this is a card that does like what we generally say replaces itself. So what happens is when it dies, it leaves another body behind that the player that you're playing against your opponent has to deal with, right? Another potential blocker. So this is more playable in the draft in the standard or draft format where you're really trying to come up with solutions for with cards that aren't optimal for what you're trying to do.
Okay.
I think this is good. Steam Core Scholar. So it's 3. It's a rare. He's a flyer. He's a vigilance. He's got evasion. When it ETBs, you draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards unless you discard an instant or sorcery card or creature or flying. This is a very good card. The reason I say it's good is because it has an ETB effect. When it ETBs, you can exploit that. You can exploit the ETB effect by doing a mechanic that's called blinking. Okay, so how ETB works is that you play it, it enters the battlefield, and then this goes off once. Now the idea is that you get a benefit for him entering the battlefield, and then he just stays there. And then you fight with him, you do whatever he does, he dies, whatever. Now you have any type of recursion, and he comes back into the if you can enter the battlefield multiple times in a game, then you just keep getting that benefit from him.
Okay.
And then if you do something with like a blink mechanic, where you can actually blink him, where it means exile a certain card and bring him back in, then you can do it multiple times. Then that's what's called broken. You can break the card that way. And when it's called breaking the card is when you actually exploit it to a point where it starts doing stuff more than what you wanted it to do. And Karlov is the whole pack of Murders of Karlov Manor actually has a lot of cards that you can break and do some broken stuff with. So did Thunder Junction, and to a certain degree, so did Ixalan. Ixalan had some old school power creep. Ixalan was a dinosaur deck, and it just grew.
That's the other one I got, right?
Yeah, you got Ixalan. So Ixalan was really good. It was really popular. One, because everybody loves dinosaurs, but also it put a lot of powerful creatures onto the board, and then they were able to do the Universes Beyond tied in with Jurassic Park. So, so they were able to do things like create special land cards that actually showed like the Jurassic Park gate, and it actually showed like scenes from Jurassic Park, and then they remodeled some of the creatures to be Jurassic Park creatures. It had the logo, the Jurassic Park logo. People just went crazy over it.
See, this is why I think it would do really well doing a Barbie version.
Yeah, and they're probably trying to.
But because Barbie's Mattel though.
Barbie is Mattel, but they have they did Street Fighter, which is Capcom. They're doing the Final Fantasy next year, which is Square Enix. So the Barbie one wouldn't actually be too far out of the fit.
Yeah, they did that. I mean,
so let me do a quick scan through these cards real quick. What is everything okay? What happened? What's the matter?
I mentioned Barbie, and you just keep going.
What? Oh,
you wouldn't buy it. I would buy it.
I think. Well,
my friends would buy it.
Barbie's a phenomenon. Okay, so Okay, so let's say they actually did come out with Magic the Gathering Barbie edition.
Yeah.
Okay, who would buy it? I don't like. Would you? Like,
Yeah.
I think Barbie could draw people into Magic the Gathering. Like,
I don't think they would know how to play, but because the cards are so pretty, that people will want it as a commemorative um, token for Barbie. So you have all the what do they call it? All of the different Barbie. Um, you have your original Barbie. You have your Malibu Barbie. You have your cowboy Barbie, cowgirl Barbie. I think they would do that.
uh-huh.
And then because people just love every different era of Barbie, they would buy just multiples of these just to like keep it.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, because like Thunder Junction did really well on a Western theme, just using Western tropes that everybody already knows, like the quick draw, the tumbleweed,
Yeah.
the train. Like, they just put like the magic veneer on it.
Yeah.
Ixalan did really well on dinosaurs, and everybody knows about dinosaurs. There's nothing new there,
Yeah.
right? And then being able to tie it in with Jurassic Park is just a plus. But Barbie, and merging Magic the Gathering and Barbie would be like, it would be a phenomenon. It would be a lot of work, I think, to figure out where does each individual Barbie character fit into the Magic the Gathering universe.
Well, and it's not just Barbie. You have your
the accessories.
Well, mostly like the Kens.
Right.
Because in the movie there were multiple Kens.
Uh-huh.
Multiple Barbies, multiple Kens. So I think it would work. I think there's enough to make a bundle.
How would it play? How would you envision it playing? And I think
because I don't know how to play Magic.
I think it's an amazing idea. I think just from the practicality aspect, like, okay, if I was put in charge of making a Barbie themed Magic the Gathering set, the biggest challenges I could think of is you take this entire IP, right, which is Magic the Gathering, or you take this IP from Mattel, which is Barbie, which probably has more lineage and more than Magic the Gathering does. It goes back further, it encompasses more, and then you got to figure out how to make that playable within the archetypes of Magic the Gathering. So, like, who would the red characters be? Who would the black characters be? Who would the blue characters be?
Yeah.
Who would the white characters be? Who would the green characters be?
Yeah. Who's
aggro? Who's, who shares those qualities? Like, what would... So, when Battle for Zendikar came out, back in 2015, that was the beginning of what we would call the new Magic era. I think that was where new Magic, the new power levels, the new archetype, the new way of thinking about Magic came about. And I think that really started with Battle for Zendikar. Before that, there was Magic, but I think the vintage Magic market really still held a grip, meaning that you could take cards from that era and the vintage stuff was still predominantly powerful because it just had these old school power levels that I don't think Wizards of the Coast wanted to topple and upset the aftermarket with by putting out these new cards. I think Wizards of the Coast was very careful with trying to manage the power levels, and they had some mechanics, like they had the morph mechanic, and then the whole like recolor archetype coming out with like the concept of Mardu, Sultai, Jeskai. That was relatively new, and I think that came out during Khans of Tarkir, and I think that was really their attempt at trying to counterbalance the old school power levels of vintage Magic. Now, when Battle for Zendikar came out, they had, in the storyline, they had what was called the Gatewatch, Gatewatch, and the Gatewatch was part of the storyline, and the Gatewatch encompassed 5 characters, and each character was basically like a caricature of the colors that each one represented. So you had the character Gideon, who was like the soldier, the indestructible soldier, who was like forever locked on this concept of good.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the white. He represented the white archetype. You had Liliana Vest, who was the necromancer, and she was basically like neutral evil. And she was the black archetype. You know, she was the necromancer. She was pretty, but she had like all this army of zombies walking around her. Then you had Jace Beleren, who was the blue archetype. Mm-hmm. Then you had Chandra, and then you had, and I forget who was, and then you had Nissa, who was represented in the green archetype. And that was basically the Gatewatch. And whenever they interacted with the universe of Magic the Gathering, they identified with the colors. So going back to coming out with like a Barbie set, you would have to think, okay, well, who in Barbie would be like the Gatewatch? You know, who would be the Gideon Jura version from the Barbie universe? Who would be the Chandra Nylar version from the Barbie universe? Who would be the Liliana Vest? Mm-hmm. Who would be the Barbie version of Liliana Vest from the Mattel side? You know, who could really identify? Who could bring those qualities to it? And I think those would be questions that would have to be answered for a Barbie set to actually materialize, just from my perspective. But to make the game playable. But once those questions are answered and the set's actually made, then you could have a Barbie set, and I think it'd just be, gangbusters all over again.
I don't think any guy would play. I think it's just for girls.
I think a ton of guys would play. I think so. I think they really embrace like the LGBT. Mm-hmm. The LGBT community's really been embraced. Wizard of the Coast has really been embracing the LGBTQ community for a while. So I see a lot of guys. I think a lot of guys would play it. A lot of the new guys would play it. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that good? I mean, was that good? Did you like that? I mean, check and watch. Distracted.
53 minutes.
What?
We're at 53 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there is there someplace you got to be?
No. The other podcast was what, an hour?
About an hour, yeah. So we're almost done. But we're about where we were at the podcast with we were opening packs around the 53-minute mark.
Yeah.
So get packing, get cracking those packs. Man, I hope that cleaner sound doesn't come out, totally ruin our audio. Well, this is the version between doing it for free. It's like we need a podcast studio. It's like, no, we got a podcast studio at home. This is the podcast studio at home. It's like stuff going in the background. So, anything that really jumps out at you when you Spirit Detective, Cold Case Cracker, yet more ghosts and trench coats. What are we looking for? We are looking for. I actually don't know what we're looking for. We're just looking at the artwork here. Oh, this is really good. I like these dual cards right here.
Oh, that's new? I've never seen those.
Yeah, well, this is actually a Ravnica thing. So I think it's a Ravnica, but these are, I forget what they call them, but you can play them either as an instant or you can play them as a sorcery. So you kind of get like the low level or the high level. So it's really good.
Macabre reconstruction?
I like this one, Assassin's Trophy. Destroy target permanent and opponent controls. So when I say target permanent, that means you can destroy their land. Yeah, anything that's like land destruction. Oh, look. Aurelia's Vindicator. I think this is a good one right here. So you can see that it's a it's a mythic actually. It's a mythic. It's two white pips and 2 generic. Flying Lifelink War 2. Disguise, X3, and a white pip. When Aurelia's Vindicator is turned face up, exile up to X other target creatures from the graveyard battlefield and or creature cards from graveyards. So when Aurelia's Vindicator leaves the battlefield, return to exile cards that are under his hand. I like this card. It's a very playable card.
You might like these two then. Maybe not.
No, I think so. I just realized I saw this Vengeful Creeper. There's actually a couple of cards in here called Slime Against Humanity. Let me see the ones that you have. So we have Toxic Analysis. They went this way. Search your battlefield for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield tap, shuffle. Granite Witness, Gargoyle Detective. Again, the detective thing. I like it. I think it's good, you know? Thinking Cap, Demand Answers. Who did it? Harry Dronesmith. Clandestine Meddler. When
Yeah, because it's low.
it's low power, it's a low casting cost. It's an uncommon. When Clandestine Meddler, it has an ETB effect. Suspect up to one other target creature you control. A suspected creature has menace and can't block. Whenever one or more suspected creatures you control attacks, avail one. I think it's a solid card. Anything that helps you look at your library or get through your library is very good. Yeah, so this is interesting. Borak Clan Basher. So it just makes me wonder, like, what's going on here, because, you know, it's detectives and everybody's trying to figure out a murder, but then you have this guy just kind of like lopping off the pillar there.
Mm-hmm.
So here's another Rampage card. Anzrax Rampage, so that's two of them. Then we got Macabre Reconstruction. So Recursion is like basically a very typical black card of skill, being able to bring creatures back from the graveyard. Another awesome land, and then of course a clue token.
Clue, part of the Clue game set.
Well, actually, they made Murders of Karlov Manor made it very like clue centric, but clues have been around for a while. In fact, one of the Warhammer decks had clues. Had a clue. There's a card in here called Slime Against Humanity.
That's a powerful one? Or
Well,
just a malleable one?
so it's powerful because it breaks a singleton format, meaning that you can have any card in your deck called Slime Against Humanity. So the meme is that you create an entire deck where all your cards are called Slime Against Humanity, and as one comes out, it gets an extra 2 power for every single other one that's out, plus the ones that are in your graveyard. So you know, and they're very low power. Everybody wanted to build a slime deck when it first came out, but they actually got very hard to find. So, Sanitation's Tom. So this is a new one that they came out with. They have case cards, and what case cards are is they're situational. They come out when they have an effect, and then there's situations that you have to meet to solve the case, and then once you solve the case, they have some type of benefit that they give to you. So I think you can play these in Standard, you can play these in Commander. When you play them in Draft, I think that's where really come out, because I think with the cases, it's an attachment case. I think when these came out, they really wanted you. The idea was you weren't so much as battling your opponent as you were so trying to solve the case. And then once you solve the case, you would get this incredible buff to your characters, which basically guaranteed that whatever you had to hold back to solve the case, you were able to then overpower it. So in this case, it says solved. So at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains flying, double strike, and vigilance until end of turn. So basically, you get evasion, you can swing at your opponent and win the game. So with Commander, everybody's got 40 lives, there's a lot of life to go around, but when you're playing one-on-one against somebody, there's only 20 life. And if you play your cards right, you can basically get a very advantageous board state to where you can basically take your opponent out. So here's Aurelia again. So another mythic. There's a lot of Aurelia, which is funny because my brother's name is Aurelio. So
this is for him.
This is for him. This is for my brother. Flying Vigilance Haste. When a player attacks with 3 or more creatures, you draw a card. Whenever a player attacks with 5 or more creatures, a Rayleigh Law above deals 3 damage to each of your opponents and you gain 3 life. Very solid card. I don't know if it's worth anything, but I think it's... what generally drives the value of these cards is what's winning Standard. So if there's cards that stand out in Standard...
Yeah, this is pretty.
It is. It says Sample Collector, Troll Detective, but again, it's the same thing. It's a troll wearing a jacket and a fedora, and I think people are just like, what's going on here, you know?
Everybody's a detective. Right? Everyone's a detective.
Everyone's a detective, yeah. Everybody's trying to solve the case. So Shock, 1, deals 2 damage to any target. Shock is a very good card. It's a staple. Staples meaning it's like a card that holds the format together. Just like a staple will hold a stack of papers together.
Yeah.
A staple card is like the card that holds the color together. The thing with red, being able to do 2 damage to any target doesn't seem like a big deal. Where it gets powerful is when you can copy it 6 times.
Oh.
And it hits your opponent for 12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which you can do it if you know what you're doing. So you start looking for cards that allow you to... Synergy. There you go. You start looking for synergy.
I just throw words out.
No, I think it's adorable. You're like learning. You're learning.
I need synergy.
You need synergy in your life? 10th District Hero.
That looked like it was a powerful card.
It is. So first of all, he's 2, so he's already getting my detective. He's already getting my attention. And then, so you got multiple things you can do. So this is the reason why it's very powerful, I think. When I look at the mana abilities, if they don't have the tap ability, meaning that you don't tap it, then you can exploit it because you can just keep doing it, and you don't have to tap the creature to do it. So if you pay 2, collect evidence 2, 10th District Hero becomes a human detective with base power and toughness 4/4 and gains vigilance. Then if you do it for 3, collect evidence 4, if 10th District Hero is a detective, it becomes a legendary creature named Leva the Stalwart, and it has base power and toughness 5/5 and it gains other creatures you control have indestructible. It's a very good card. Because this is like a level up, because you pay 2, he comes onto the board as a 2/3. He's an early blocker, maybe he'll die, maybe he'll get hit in. But then you can pay another 2, and then you can collect evidence 2, meaning exile cards from your graveyard, at least 2 mana power. What this is making me think is like, you play him, and then you play like a counter spell, or you play something to like hold your opponent up. Then you exile that counter spell from your graveyard, he levels up, and becomes a 4/4 creature. And then you play more spells, and then you level him up again, pay another 3, exile 4 more mana from your graveyard that would have collected from playing other cards, and then that's your win column right there. And as long as he doesn't get bounced back to your hand, then then he could possibly do very well. There's a lot of like timing and synergy that goes on. So.
Yeah. It depends on what other people have on their play area.
Exactly.
Okay.
It depends. So there's a lot of like, well, that's when you get into like what's known as like the phases of the, like which are you early game, mid game, late game, like exactly where are we right here, right? Yeah. You do a good job trying to keep up. Oh, look at this. I like this. Look at this art card.
Oh.
I always...
I got the same one.
Oh, look at you. Oh, wow.
Oh, wait, no, it's not. It's not the same one. It's a sword.
Huh.
It's a broken sword.
Oh, I think it continues. Oh, no, it doesn't.
No.
I think it's like a thing where you can put them together and create like a big like a poster out of it,
It's a puzzle.
It's a puzzle. Oh look, we both got the Loxodonic eavesdropper.
Oh, that looks like it's something powerful.
Oh, it's funny. He's got big ears. He's like listening. Yeah, 3/3 elephant. And it enters the battlefield. Investigate. You create a clue token. It's an artifact with 2. Sack this artifact. Draw a card. And whenever you draw your second card each turn, Loxodonic eavesdropper gains +1/+1. Gains vigilance until end of turn. You know, so we pay attention to the rares and mythic rares, but in actuality, when you play draft, it's actually the common cards that'll actually win you the game.
Oh.
Yeah, because I've drafted, I've built amazing decks that I thought, oh my god, this is awesome. Like, there's, just, I'm going to go 3-0, and I just get curb stomped by, like, some dude that just, like, put a bunch of jank together. And I'm just like, what is going on here? Barbed Servitor. He's a 3 in a swamp. He's an artifact creature construct. He's indestructible. When he ETBs, suspected. When it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card, you lose 1 life. And then, when it's dealt damage, target opponent loses that much life. Wow. Okay. Because it's a very powerful card, because somebody can swing at you for like 20, then you block it with a 1/1 indestructible, and they lose 20 life. We're going to have to put this one off to the side. That's going in my Necron deck. Good job. Oh, look at this.
You see something?
Yeah, so you got something from the bonus sheet. So sometimes they'll throw in, I call them special appearance or special guest cards.
Uh-huh.
So this isn't even from the Murders of Karlov Manor series. So you see this icon right here? Yeah, it's not from, but they threw it in here. So sometimes you'll get like the bonus, or I call it like the guest appearance card.
Oh, okay.
Like when you're drafting, and then 1 sacrifice a non-land permanent. Magma deals 1 damage to any target. So again, when it says 1 and it isn't a tap ability, you can kind of exploit that. So I'm not sure how you could exploit it, but it's very important. Let's see what you got there.
Not the same elephant.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of like the last time, right? We saw some similarities there.
Repetitive.
Yeah. So look, Snarling Gorehound. So that's actually a Ravnica remastered card. So you're in there. You got a really unique unique pack here. Yeah, because we're getting cards that we haven't seen yet. Absolving Lamassu. When it enters the battlefield, all suspected creatures are no longer suspected. And when it dies, you gain 3 life and suspect up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. Rune Brand Juggler, Human Shaman. When it enters the battlefield, suspect up to 1 target creature you control. Sacrifice a suspected creature. Target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn. Rope. It's an equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+2, has reach, and can be blocked by more than 1 creature. And then if you sacrifice rope, you draw a card. You never really know how these are going to play out until you actually play them. There's some cards that, in fact, some of the cards that are in my commander decks, I put them in there just based off of their performance in draft. This is really good. You got a dual land, Swamp Mountain, and enters the battlefield tap, but when it ETBs, you can surveil 1. So you can exploit it because you can bounce your land, keep returning it, keep surveilling. So that's actually really good. I think this is a really good deck pack. For some reason, it just seemed like you were going to get some unusual stuff.
You put that one to the side.
They put it to the side. Oh, this is good. So Illicit Masquerade, Flash. When it enters the battlefield, put an imposter counter on each creature you control. When a creature you control with an imposter counter on dies, exile it. Return up to 1 other target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That might go into my Necron. Okay. It's like, put it to the side. Gorgon Detective. When persuasive interrogator dies. Well, it just goes back to your original question. How do I know if a card's good? You'll just know.
Just like,
I can go
it's
in the
your
box.
secret. All right, last one.
Okay. That could be good. I'm gonna have to like.
I'm gonna have to have my own little savings account for
The savings account
cards.
for it.
Yeah.
So,
those are different.
Repeat offender, yeah. Oh, I always thought this one was funny because you have the artwork. Can I get your flashlight? It's getting a little dark here. This is the in the dark edition. this is the open of cards. So I always thought this was funny artwork because there's this girl. She's show the camera. So you have a girl here who's like hiding, and then there's a guy reading a wanted poster or the newspaper wanted. It's her face like right there. So, I thought that was always funny. That was a little whistle. So tunnel tipster, make your move, chessboard. Shows chess pieces there. Dog walker, another offender at large. Slice from the shadows.
Those are unique cards.
They are unique cards. We haven't seen them yet. Form familiar. So we got a cat eating a piece of chicken. Oh, okay. So I think it's supposed to be like like the cat's actually something else. It's just disguised as a cat. Maybe like a shapeshifter. Mistway spy. When it's turned face up into end of turn, whenever a creature you control is dealt combat damage to that player, investigate. Oh, so this is cool. You got the alternative artwork here. Karl Whipcracker, a black and a green, reach. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target token an opponent controls. So it has a little flavor text that says, do not approach, to stay a safe distance away, and then take 5 more steps back. So, oh, look at you. You got another land. Undercity sewers, swamp, island swamp. Case of the Chrism Pulse, which is also a rare. When it enters the battlefield, discard a card, then draw 2 cards. To solve, you have no cards in hand. So at the beginning of your upkeep, discard your hand and draw 2 cards. Okay, that's interesting. Red's always big into like, first you got to discard your card, then discard your card, and then you got to pull a card. Meaning that you don't know what you're going to pull, but you got to give something up before you
Put it to the
put it to the
side.
side. Yeah. It's like, I think this is going to be good. So here's another duel. Okay, so this is a pick your poison. It's a shiny, which I think is good. You know, it's a sorcery. Sacrifice an artifact, sacrifice an enchantment, sacrifice a creature with flying. This is another like staple card.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I put it to the side was like, oh, okay, yeah, green artifact or enchantment, you know, destruction. Like green is really big into like destroying artifacts and enchantments.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's a staple. You know, you don't really have it in black. You don't really have it. You do have it in white, but green is really like a big one that does it. Then you have another dual instant, and another guess. See, so this is another symbol that's not from Murders of Karlov Manor. So you can return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, and then you can do Aftermath, which is target opponent discards 2 hands. So you can play it as an instant or a sorcery. Oh, so you can play this first, and then you can play the sorcery from your graveyard. Aftermath. So it's a really good card. So again, what I was telling you about, it's a bounce mechanic, so you can exploit it. So what happens is that if something has an ETB effect, like let's say that previous card I was telling you about, like for this one. So if you come in, it triggers the ETB effect, then you bounce it, you return it to your hand, then you play it again, you re-trigger ETB effect. And then you keep doing that over and over. And that's a way you can exploit it. In this case, with the Servitor, it's not really, you don't really get an effect from the ETB. You get the effect from the fact that it's an indestructible blocker that throws its damage dealt to it back to the player.
Mm-hmm.
But but there was another card. Oh, okay. All right, so we're done. We're kicked out.
We are done.
Yeah, we're done. Okay.
Yeah, that was
Okay, we didn't realize. So we're done. Okay. So, good
right.
cards. Yep.
Done.
All right, we're
Bye.
done. Bye.